And I do want to see Shedeur Sanders be the starting quarterback of this thing. Yeah. I am becoming increasingly alarmed, though, that this is now the second coaching staff in back-to-back off seasons saying a lot of the same things about Shedeur. And I didn't love on Saturday that he was alternating reps with the twos with Dillon Gabriel. And today it was Gabriel working with the twos again. So it feels like Gabriel might be the backup quarterback independent of what happens with the starting quarterback competition. And if that means Watson is QB1 and Gabriel's QB2 by default.
You don't believe that. You do not believe that Dillon Gabriel is going to be the backup quarterback to start week 1. Now, maybe in a world where it's Shedeur 1 as the 1 and then Dillon Gabriel number 2, and then they just kind of tell Deshaun to hang out with a clipboard because they know they pisses him off.
Now, well, that
makes some sense, but you cannot sell me on the idea that Deshaun Watson would be quarterback number 1 and then Dillon Gabriel be number 2.
And Shedeur QB3, but
that doesn't make sense.
Based on their actions, though.
Well, their actions today was Shedeur Sanders was QB number 1 today, and Dillon Gabriel got like 7 passes while both Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders had in the 20s. Like, their actions today tell you that the plan is still on course. It's a 2-quarterback battle right now, and the 2 quarterbacks are Deshaun and Shedeur Sanders. And despite what happened on Saturday, obviously Monken is right at that wrong, is he not? Shedeur would not be QB1 today if Deshaun Watson had the job locked up. That would make no sense as a head coach to do that.
Maybe I'm just living in my fears with this thing,
I think
Jonathan.
you might.
Maybe that's where the flip-flop accusation started.
I think you might be.
Because I do want to see Shedeur start. I still think that's the cleanest path forward for the Browns.
It just makes no sense if Deshaun ends up starting. It makes zero sense as to why that would happen, outside of the idea that the Browns have these blinders up with Deshaun and they want to try to right some wrong from 4 years ago. But in the future, it just makes zero sense to have Deshaun Watson. You gain nothing by having Deshaun Watson play football this year. You're not going to extend him. You're not going to give him another contract. He's worth nothing to you beyond this year. It makes absolutely zero sense for Deshaun Watson to start week 1.
And that's why, Jonathan, when we did the pre-show meeting, I really wanted to get off my chest today that I can't repeat enough, that the one thing I feel strongest about in this quarterback competition, forget about the names, forget about where they stand on the depth chart, the real loser of this competition is the Browns fans. The same Browns fans that have waited for this franchise quarterback since the team returned in 1999, for an organization that's so obsessed over quarterback. They've tried everything. They've tried drafting him number 1 overall. They've tried drafting him late. They've tried trading 3 first-round picks and giving a guaranteed $230 million to a guy that was an MVP candidate and came with a ton of baggage. And then the absolute poop hit the fan. And we're left with this. What is this? We're doing a quarterback competition for what cause? Because all of these insiders, literally all of them, from Schefter, Garafolo, and we just played Rap Sheet in the lead, they're saying that Watson's going to be the starting quarterback. And all 3 of them aren't missing on that. I'm sorry they're not. These insiders, they know. They know that Watson's going to be the starter. Nobody wants to say it. Nobody wants to be honest with the Browns fan who just wants to see the team win.
These same people weren't saying this last Tuesday. It's not as if Deshaun Watson has done. No, they weren't.
Schefter and Garafolo have been saying it since the spring that Watson's going to be the starter.
It's not as if so much has changed in the 6 days since I myself watched Deshaun Watson be unplayable on that practice field. It's not as if so much has drastically changed. And you want to tell me that Shedeur didn't go out and grab it? I'll listen to that. You want to tell me, and I've admitted to this, I was shocked that Deshaun's arm looked as good as it did. It was not a problem with whether or not he had enough velocity on it. But you go out to these practices, and enough of you fans have been out there, his arm looks good. It's nowhere close is the problem.
It's wildly inaccurate.
It's wildly inaccurate, and his decision-making is still absolutely awful.
And that's what it was in 2024. And that's why, I can't sit here in good faith and actually have a real honest conversation about these quarterbacks, because now I've got 2 coaching staffs with the quarterback that I like and the quarterback that I would play telling you, for whatever reason, that he's having these pre-snap issues and that he's having a hard time communicating with the offensive line and reading the defenses.
Yeah, but Deshaun had those problems too today.
And Deshaun, you could argue it's worse. The last time I saw Deshaun in 2024, when he was fully healthy, he was dancing into sacks. He was not reading defenses at all. It wasn't just bad, Jonathan. It was comically bad. There was nothing you could do other than laugh at the TV. And there were real debates at the time before he got injured At what point do you have to just take him off the field, despite the contract? At what point do you just have to bench him? But for whatever reason, this is what the Browns have done to us. It's like torture. They've given us a guy that has not been good in 6 years versus a guy that, for whatever reason, they're not letting have a true full opportunity because they continue to move the goalposts for Shedeur. Last year, it was processing speed. That was the big thing. If he could speed up his processing like the supercomputer Dylan Gabriel, then Shedeur would have an opportunity. This year, it's cadence
All right, so
and
ask yourself
pre-snap
this.
operation.
Why are they doing it this way? I contend that it's because it's all about 2027 to them. That's like my thought process, and it's not unique. It's not very different. It's just it's not accepted on this show in particular, but it is what it is. Is that they're not 2026 doesn't matter to them the same way 2027 does. And if they really wanted to make an effort for 2026. Maybe they would have done things a little bit differently. They're just saying that they're end of the rope with Deshaun, who has to be on the team because you can't really do anything until March of 2027 with that contract anyway, so he's here. And then Shedeur's got built up enough with the fans last year. You spent a fifth-round pick on him. You might as well see what he can do. And so you just kind of find yourself in this situation, despite what Jared Verse wants to tell any media member that will listen.
Right.
They're just kind of existing for 2026. It's a lazy river ride. Just go down it. That's essentially what they're telling you.
And it's what it feels like. And that's why, like, the loser in this really is the Browns fans, because we have to sit, whether we like it or we don't, and we could go into the season understanding. I'm going into the season understanding that the only quarterback that probably is back in 2027 is Taylon Green. Yet still, I have to sit down and watch 20 of these games.
Well, we don't know that because the 2027 quarterback, here's what I'd say. If Shedeur plays, and let's say he can play all 17, and you win 7-8 games, something like that, I'm not saying Shedeur's the quarterback the following year. What I am saying is that in 2027, you can draft a quarterback, and then maybe you don't start him right away. Maybe you do a Jacoby Brissett, Drake May situation,
Sure.
where for 5, 6, 7 games, whatever that is, you let Shedeur play into then the new quarterback, and then you kind of go there. You can even do the Patrick Mahomes, Alex Smith thing if you want,
sure,
and let that rookie quarterback sit for a little bit. Like there are things that you can do with Shedeur Sanders that exist beyond this season. You can't do any of those things with Deshaun Watson. You can't. They don't exist with Deshaun.
But they're actively considering playing him again.
Yeah, they are.
Like they're
because
actively,
they made one of the worst deals in NFL history.
Dude, like they're ushering in this new chapter of football. Like this is the fourth offense that Deshaun Watson is going to play under during his time with the Browns. So how many offensive coordinators need to fall at the stake for this guy? He can't play anymore. There's your answer. I'm very confused for an organization that's so obsessed with data. They follow the data at every twist and turn.
I know they got blinders for Deshaun in this. They do.
Might start a guy that has not shown one positive data point in 6 seasons.
Yeah, it's funny. You said something to the effect of how Browns fans are the real loser in this, and I do feel like a loser for the upcoming year. Don't get that mistaken. I do. But I don't feel like a loser big picture. And this is where the Browns have a selling point that lets them kind of take it's not even a poison pill, but let them take this year that is just going to maybe not be the greatest thing we've ever seen. Even if it ends up 6-7 wins, somewhere in that range, and we can argue whether that's successful or not, it's a completely different conversation. I look at 6 or 7 wins as an absolute. It's a bad year. There's no. I argued that with Joe Thomas. Okay,
because guess why? What was the point?
Yeah, exactly. Because what is the point? But I don't. Here's the trick that they've been able to pull off, and this is impressive by them, is that I don't feel like I'm wasting my time with this team. I don't feel like I'm a loser watching these games.
Because of the young talent?
Because of the young talent, yeah. Because the guys in year 1 and year 2, and watching them progress and watching what this team can be, there is something to it.
Sure. Well,
they're building this in a way that is different than they did in the past. This isn't 1-31. This is different. There are things I can reach out and touch, tangibly see, all sorts of different things about this Browns team that are going to make a difference and are going to be around in 28 and 29 and 30 in a way that they don't have to really matter this year.
So I was going to wait to do this till later in the preseason, but I think I'm going to do it now.
I feel good. Okay. All right.
You ready to go?
You got later in the preseason enough time to flip-flop on this.
I've got my right now August 10th prediction for how this Brown season goes.
Okay. All right.
Deshaun Watson's going to start at quarterback. there is a potential that it could look worse than it's ever looked before. Because when he opened training camp, he looked really bad. And he's course corrected. We'll give him that credit. He's put together a couple of nice practices.
At this point, that's the expectation. Not anything. It's the expectation is that he looks really bad.
So I think Watson is your QB1.
Okay.
The organization will buy goodwill that they probably do not deserve 5 or 6 weeks into the season, and they'll put Shedeur on the field. And I think it'll actually look decent enough for another 5 or 6 weeks.
Quick hook on Watson is the point here.
Probably.
I agree with that. I think he gets a very short amount of time.
And he's either hurt or he's really bad, and they have to try something else at that point.
Okay.
And then we see Shedeur. And I actually think that could keep the car on the road for a little bit. I don't think they'll trade Shedeur. I'm not going to give in to that craziness. And the reason why I don't think that they will is because I don't
right now.
And I don't believe in Deshaun. And I don't know that they could genuinely believe in Deshaun as a data-driven organization that has no data since 2019 that says that this guy can play.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see Shedeur by week 5,
right, so
week 6.
You're off Dylan Gabriel's quarterback 2, though, in this.
And I think Dylan's probably QB3 in this, though.
Coach
because
Riz,
I think
by
we
the
see
way.
him at some point. We probably see Taylor Green, too. And then we're on to April, and we're debating what quarterback that they should take at the first 10 picks of the 2027 NFL.
Our buddy Coach Riz says if you're waiting until 2027, it won't happen then either. You don't get to turn culture on and off when it's convenient. That's not the point, though.
You could turn a quarterback on and off, though.
Exactly. That implies that they have a choice. They don't have enough talent. Okay, like you can build all the culture in the world. If you don't have a talent, it doesn't matter. You can have 53 Tony Robbins. It doesn't matter if you don't have enough talent on the field, and that's the part that they can't overcome this year. They just don't have enough talent on the field.
Is that the goal this year? Maybe just all 53 guys just repeat every day. We're not tanking. We're not taking. It's like politics. If you say it enough, and if you say it loud enough, everybody will just take it as fact. Is that what we're supposed to be doing here?
Here's the other part of that, though. We watched how many teams last year go from what was a bad team into all of a sudden being a good team. We watched the 4-win Patriots go from, a 4-win team into the Super Bowl the following year. Drake May existed both of those seasons. We watched the Jaguars go from a 4-win team to a 13-win team in 1 year. We watched the Bears struggle mightily with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson in year 1, win 4 or 5 games, and then the following year, double digits, win a playoff game, and all of a sudden they're the media's darling. We watched this happen, and I'm not giving you references from 10 years ago. I'm giving you in a 2-year window, the most recent 2-year window we have. We watched both the Bears, the Jaguars, and the Patriots. Again, the Patriots just played in the Super Bowl last year. All go from 4 or 5-win teams into double-digit wins and postseason appearances. It's not crazy.
And it wasn't a culture fairy that came through those organization with a wand and said, we're going to have a good culture now. They drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Exactly. And
that was the secret sauce.
I can respect the idea of culture and what it takes and the building component to it all, but ultimately talent is the name of the game, and talent is what's going to win out. And if the Browns getting their quarterback in 2027, if they get that guy that ends up being whatever you want to say this is as far as talent is concerned, but a franchise quarterback, guess what? A lot of people all of a sudden are going to be looking pretty good. And then the parts of culture that people do like, oh, Jared Verse, yeah, it always existed here. Well, yeah. Jared Verse, I think, is great for culture. I think he's awesome. Jared Verse can't overcome if I put 52 Pee Wee football players and Jared Verse in the field. It's not going to matter. Like the talent part of this has got to play a major factor, Nick.